Hi friends, we would like you to subscribe and also press the bell icon. Hello viewers, welcome back to Fountainhead Veda. We had a great feedback from all of you. So we have today with us none other than Sri R. Tyagarajan, Shriram Group chairman, and also extraordinarily self-effacing man. I think when we talked about self-actualization people, it was really fitting in for Mr. R. Tyagarajan, because the self-actualization people do not, really look at things for esteeming, increasing their esteem or respect for themselves from others. And they really do not have any baggage to carry in terms of, say, likes and dislikes or being paranoid about others. They go on absorbing knowledge and keep passing on to the world at large. And even today, he says he's continuously trying to learn things, and he is as young as plus 80 today. So I am really grateful to Mr. Tyagarajan to join us and share his experiences. I am going to request him to start off whatever way, his style, he wants to share his experiences in terms of, I am going to ask a leading questions, the qualities of Siddhapragyan in Sanskrit. He will say Siddhapragyan, he may know he has learned a lot of Sanskrit in the earlier days, but he has moved on to logic, statistics, mathematics. So he will say maybe self-actualization questions I may try and answer you. So over to Sri R. Tyagarajan. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
So go ahead asking questions.
Yeah, good.
I'm not good at lecturing. I'm okay with answering questions.
Great. So what I wanted to know, first of all, is the self-actualization as per Maslow's theory. It was saying that the kind of these people are grow from ஒரு வயத்துக்கு பசிக்கு உணவு, அதுக்கப்புறம் some kind of a respectability in the society, then the power, money. Then after that they move on to the real self-actualization is understanding oneself, and the great knowledge seekers they become. I thought in your lifestyle I've seen, I think I joined our group in 1988 or 87. Probably I was 30, you could have been about nearly 48, 49 or 50 or whatever it is. Even those days I have seen, I think you crossed all this very quickly in life, and you have gone into self-actualization mode as early as your 40s or something like that, or much earlier if I would have met you. You never wanted to really look at the wealth creation for yourself personally. You never wanted any respectability or a great fame for you. But you have really built this organization as one of the largest, the best organization in this country in terms of financial services and others. So could you please take us through from your younger days, why is it in the genes these qualities are, or you did develop from seeing some friends or associates or your bosses in your career? So I thought rest is over to you. In between I keep asking questions.
Having studied the subject of genetics when I was at the Statistical Institute,
Okay.
It was one of the special subjects where there is an application of probability theory to biology that takes place in the field of genetics.
Okay.
I was naturally interested in living things, not necessarily human beings, in living things. Even today I consider a kitten to be the most beautiful thing in the world. I see some of these YouTube things where a lot of kitten, cats and all that come. Extraordinary beauty, I think, is defined by a kitten or a group of kittens. So living things have always been of interest to me. Therefore, naturally, I chose to study genetics. Today I believe, and I think the scientific world believes, that a human being is created at the moment of conception. You can't change thereafter. You may read management books, you may claim that you have got inspiration from X, Y, Z, etc. Experiences have taught you, all kinds of things are there. But I think the core of a human being, from the moment the conception takes place, when the egg and the sperm merge into one entity and you create what is called a zygote from which a human being evolves, at that moment your fate is sealed.
No.
There is very little that you can do thereafter. No amount of Swamijis and spiritual leaders or scientists or management experts can have much of an impact on changing their personality. So if a person says, like me for example, I would always say that Mr. B.K. Shah was the chief of New India Assurance Company where I worked for about 15 years or so. Later on, not in those days when I was working in New India, later on, after I left New India, after Mr. B.K. Shah left New India, I came to realize what kind of a man he was, what a great manager and inspirer of people he was. All those things dawned on me later, not when I was in the New India Assurance Company. Not that I did not have respect for him, but that respect almost became bhakti later on. I had respect all right for Mr. B.K. Shah.
Can I interfere, sir? Are you contradicting yourself now? Learnings cannot be there with the
I would say the ability to learn, the ability to be inspired by someone
Right.
is something which is built in your genes.
Oh,
Because the same Mr. B.K. Shah had a totally different impact on another person. There was in fact one interesting meeting where he addressed us for about 2.5 hours. He called about 30 to 40 people who were in charge of some branches or something, responsibility holders for a particular area. And he spoke to us for about 2.5 hours on how to change your personality for the better. That was his talk. I was deeply impressed at the end of 1.5 hours or 2 hours. I thought it was amazing. My colleague who was with me, who also joined the company along with me, a management trainee, he said, this man has been talking some nonsense of these 2.5 hours and all of you have been listening to this. He said, look at the way I
Perceived
was
him.
inspired. I said, what he said was lot of sense, lot of wisdom, very unusual. First time I heard something of that kind. To him it was totally, blabbering by a person. That shows that you don't learn. The ability to learn has to be built into you. There has to be a gene or a few genes inside your system which will help you to absorb things in a particular way.
correct.
You don't absorb the same thing. From the same person with the same kind of a background and history, two people can absorb two different lessons.
Right, true. I
So
understand.
it is an interaction between what is in you and what comes from the external world. That's why I said this is a bit immutable. The genetic content of an individual cannot be changed. And even if it is changed, it will have an impact on the next generation, but he can't change. By making some genetic changes in me, I can't change. It's not possible. So ultimately, you can say that everything is in a way determined. It is not determined.
But don't you think you need trigger points for you to really experience that? These are the trigger points for you by meeting
that
B.K.
is
Shah,
true.
and you would have met somebody else. So all this, otherwise it would have been latent in your genes
That
itself.
happens, All the time there are impact on your psyche, on your
Right.
intellect,
Right.
on your emotions.
Right.
There is a continuous stream of things that are impacting
Right.
the individual. The reaction to that
Yeah.
is a combination of the nature of influence and what is inside
Right.
the genetic. It's a combination. The outcome is unpredictable.
Right.
And Swamiji may inspire me to go and dedicate my life to social service.
Okay.
The same Swamiji may inspire somebody else to go and make a lot of money the wrong way.
Right.
So you can't say that what is going to be the impact,
outcome.
the consequence or the outcome of an influence over an individual. In my case, it happened to be okay.
But you came from a very, very small town, Sirgari. From then on, how did really Chennai did some influence you by coming from Sirgari?
My father might have influenced me in a negative way, in the sense that if he had said something to me, I would have believed in doing something opposite. But that was in my gene. I don't think I was a very obedient son.
Okay.
Fortunately, my father also was not an obedient son for his parents, but
Okay.
he was extremely successful in life.
All right.
Outstanding personality he was. He didn't study much, but he achieved a great deal in life. That way he was okay, but I don't think I was inspired by him.
Okay.
The fact that I admire him, but that doesn't mean that I imitate him or his personality had an influence that could change my character or my personality or my emotions. No. There was an admiration for him, just as I had admiration for Mr. B.K. Shah. So an individual is unique. Either he is very good or bad or dangerous. All those things are not under the control of the individual.
Right.
Partly determined, partly the influences. If that influence had not come at all, the change might not have come about also. If I had not joined New Industrials Company, the time I joined, and if Mr. V.K. Shah had not been the leader for New Industrials Company at that time, probably I would have been different. What I wanted to do was something different. But then what turned out was something different. What I wanted to do was to pass a central services examination tomorrow and then go to sleep for the rest of my life.
That's precise.
Theoretically, my intellect told me that it's a very sensible thing for you because you are reasonably okay in passing examinations. You try to pass the central service examination and then choose one stream there, which is the audit and account service, where you don't have to do anything. You have to only find fault with people. That also your subordinates will find fault. You only sign. So I thought I will come to office by 10 o'clock and pack up at about 5 o'clock and then go home and read good things and listen to good music.
Right.
I was interested in literature, not very complex literature, even Tamil. I had quite a few people whom I wanted to read. I could listen to a lot of music.
Right.
I could explore new kinds of music. I was not only our music. I was in the patriotic individual. Even today, I consider patriotism to be a very negative thing. People shouldn't be patriotic. It is to be anti-society if people are going to be patriotic. I mean, a man in sub-Saharan Africa, he is as much our man as a person to our neighbor. I don't think that we should quarrel with our Pakistanis and our Muslims out of patriotism. I don't believe patriotism is a positive thing. It is not. It is a negative influence, a negative feeling that people have. So that way, I was quite okay with anything for that matter. But then, what changed me, I am not aware. I got a job in New Industrials Company. I started doing, I did not get into the Indian Audit and Account Service as I wanted to. Therefore, I had to settle for New India job, which I think was reasonably okay. In the sense, the leisure component might not have been as high as it would have been in the IAS, but still it was quite substantial. I always believe all these white-collared jobs and professions, there's an enormous amount of leisure for them.
Comfort and leisure, yeah.
They can indulge as our K. Balachandar went on, became a great player and wonderful person he was. He would not have been that if he had joined a private sector company, is what I believe. Because he joined the Accountant General Office, he had the time, he had the company, he could be giving a shape to his creativity. So that way, where I joined was okay. It was not as good probably in 8 days. It was quite good.
But that's where your first trigger point, V.K. Shah, took place, right? That's insurance business, when you got into insurance.
Yes, yes.
Like he was your boss then, V.K. Shah was your boss.
He was not my boss, he was my boss's boss's boss.
Oh, okay.
Quite a few levels, he was the managing director of the company. From 1944, 45 onwards, till nationalization took place and damaged the insurance industry so badly, for another 2 years also, he continued in the position, trying to influence the government to do sensible things, and he was not successful.
Yeah, can you highlight what exactly the qualities you liked from V.K. Shah, sir? You said it inspired you in Solringal.
I wouldn't say it inspired me. I was not aware of any glow of inspiration.
No, I understood. Okay, whatever word you call it. You said there was a changing point.
You see certain things in Mr. V.K. Shah's way of communicating, way of doing, way of decision making, which you find is different from the way so many other people around him take decisions, express themselves, etc. There is a difference. As I said, every human being is unique, because Mr. V.K. Shah also was very unique. A few things will stand out. One thing was his enthusiasm for people. He would always say, business is human beings. That was one thing which will come out. You know, I was there when Mr. V.K. Shah was the chief for about 6 or 7 years. I think he left thereafter. He took reduced interest in the organization. 7-8 years he was the leading light in New Industrials Company. One thing I could get was you achieve things even in an organization. In an organization like New India, you are being paid in order to achieve something for the company.
Correct.
So you can't simply say, I am drawing my salary and that is the end of it. You are expected to do some contribution to the organization. I could learn, or at least I could realize that Mr. V.K. Shah's emphasis and focus was on human beings.
Super.
Identifying human beings who are capable of doing things well.
Lovely.
And then inspire, you can say inspiring.
Yeah.
In a way, probably there could have been a bit of an inspiration. Because one thing I remember in a meeting, Mr. Shah said this. He said, Tyagarajan is not a Madras team now, he is an all India team now. He used to use the cricket language. He will be in the all India level, he will not be in the Tamil Nadu level. See, that is something which I appreciate. He would communicate to you a perception of yourself which is much larger than your perception that you had about yourself.
Lovely. Fantastic.
It creates a problem for you because you have to live up to
Live up to
an
it.
expectation which is coming within you. I never was very happy about it, but he had that kind of an impact on people. And therefore, and again, intensely humane. Because he was getting extraordinarily good results. In fact, under his leadership, New India Insurance Company was probably the world's best insurance company, not in size, but in quality and capability. I remember, in fact, my colleagues who had been senior to me in New India keep telling me, even today, even after 30, 40 years after he had died, how Mr. Shah made New India becoming present in almost the whole world. I was amazed to hear that in 1965, 66, 67, around that time, New India was operating in a country like Cuba, of all places.
Oh. What?
We knew that they were operating significantly in wherever Indians were there.
Right.
They were in East Africa in a big way. They were in South Asia in almost all the countries. They were surprisingly in Japan where there were no Indians. They were in Australia. But I never knew that he could even be in a place, New India could be even in a place like Cuba, West Indies, and all that. All over the world, New India had its footprints. And that was sitting in Mumbai,
Yeah.
he achieved all these things. That was something which was, I could admire. I could see, I mean, people like Mr. B.K. Shah, you can't imitate them. You can't replicate them. You don't even learn everything from them. Well, what? You can't learn batting from Tendulkar.
Sure.
You can admire Tendulkar's batting, but you can't learn from him. Similarly, you can appreciate, admire Mr. B.K. Shah, but I don't think he can influence your management activity, management achievement. All that is not possible. Okay, see, one thing I was made, I think it was there in me. I was okay with myself.
That's
I
most.
was ambitionless.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you are comfortable with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm good number 4 in the class or number 17 in the class, it was okay. When I was studying mathematics, there were one or two subjects where the teacher was expecting something from me. That was what I see. He was not inspiring me, but he thought that I was good.
Okay.
And he developed an expectation about my performance.
Again, like Bikesha created.
And
Yeah.
I felt bad not to live up to that expectation.
Right.
So I started doing something to see that that man is not disappointed. In fact, I remember in my chemistry, my lecturer in Vivekananda College, on Alladi Ramachandra, he called me, gave me the paper. I said, you look so intelligent. How did you not do better than this? You could have done much better. That was something which, poor man, he expects something from me. So let me not disappoint me. Thereafter, I started studying chemistry better and performed very well.
Right.
And it was performed, I did perform very well, not to give myself satisfaction, in order to make the other man feel less disappointed about the outcome. He expects, he has no business to expect anything from me, but he did expect something. Okay, you feel bad not to live up to that expectation to some extent. This happens to all human beings, I saw.
Sure.
That's why Mr. B.K. Shah's way of dealing with people could be a good management team, a management tool. You don't blast your people that your performance is bad. But you try to convey to them that you expect much more from them. You are capable of doing much better, genuinely.
Right.
I mean, these things cannot be communicated if you are not very genuine.
Absolutely.
So if you genuinely feel that this person could do much better, and if you communicate to him, his performance will be better. Then when blasting, then by doing blasting, you did not do well, other fellows have done much better. Last time you promised this much, why are you? That kind of an approach, which you see in most of the review meetings and
Sure.
management situations. Mr. B.K. Shah, in fact, used to tell in his review meetings, which were very few. I might have been in 3 or 4 review meetings of Mr. B.K. Shah. He would say, in fact, very interesting. So I can talk about Mr. B.K. Shah. In our meeting, he asked me, he said, so I was a mathematics fellow, okay. He asked me, I was one of the branch managers. He said, this year you have done 5 lakhs of rupees premium, you see. How much are you going to do this year, coming year? I said, we will do 50% increase, we will do 7.5%. Then he said, if Anantapur branch is going to do 15 lakhs, you will do 7.5%, how much will you do? Being a mathematician, I said, I made a guarded statement. I said, if Anantapur can do 15, we will do 20 lakhs. But the emphasis was not on if Anantapur can do 15 lakhs. I meant that. Because I knew, if that branch can do so well, these fellows, our team can do much better. He said, okay, 25 lakhs should be your objective. He also would say, did I ask you as to what you promised last time and what you achieved? No. I have moved away from history. I am not interested in history. I am interested in future. I am not going to ask you if you tell me that 25 lakhs of rupees and if you do only 2 lakhs of rupees. I am not going to ask you as to why you would have promised 25 lakhs and did only 2 lakhs.
Just increasing the scale.
I said, let us look at it this year. Last year is gone. This year, what do you think you will be able to do? That kind of an approach. It came very naturally to Mr. B.K. Shah because he became a CEO of New India. He was an actuary and all that. Maybe because he was an Indian actuary, I think he replaced an Englishman in New India Insurance Company when it was a life and general insurance company. And he became the CEO when he was hardly 38, 39. I don't think he would have become a CEO if he had not been an actuary. That's another thing. But I don't think he was running the company as an actuary. He was running the company as an extraordinarily gifted CEO. And New India was growing in all directions extremely well. People creating. That was what he did.
Okay.
Out of New India came about 7 or 8 outstanding people who would have run any business well. And they wouldn't have blossomed into that kind of people if they had had a different kind of an environment and a different kind of a leadership which would have created that environment. That way, these are all things which I wouldn't say are learnings. I don't think that would have in any way influenced my way of doing things. I don't think so. Because that would be a very conscious thing.
Okay.
That you realize, take a few lessons,
The lessons.
and then start applying here. No, it wasn't like that. It might have had an influence on the way I talk to people, in the way I conceptualize. It could have been. But how
So,
much of it is part of my own personality and how much was the influence? It is
That is what I was trying to say. The takeaways from whatever little you have told about your past experiences and inspiration, or the combination of genes and inspiration. Actually, I was coming to the same point in terms of I have observed, and I have really been, say, from 88 even till today, whether you like it or not, there is some combination of inspiration which I have taken from you.
Possible.
I have really absorbed a lot of your qualities with a lot of conviction and a great feeling why I can't be somewhere nearer to RT. So in that sense, I was just trying to observe the points. The takeaways from what you are saying is, first is to be human. Second is to really be positive or somewhere kind of a motivating to others in terms of what they can do better in life. As Atmartama, that is, you are feeling from that's what I'm saying.
You should be able to see.
See, that is where I have seen you enough of doing that. And also, in our organization, because of your attitude, of this attitude at a very early age, I think people used to love meeting you. I love to spend time. You used to even joke, I'm not a Swamiji giving prasadam and at best I can do that. But literally, people accepted you as a guru or call it as a nice interaction.
Some of them did. I wouldn't say everybody did that.
No, that is where I'm saying that could be the 7 best managers today, the executive directors today, the managing directors today of this organization. Where
I would say they would have been the best managers. Even
yeah, I know.
if not met me.
As you no, sir. As you are saying, B.K. Shah, Pakalanano, you would have also been somebody. So I'm only saying the trigger points by you, where the humanness and ability to take the best out of people. I'm not putting it as a deal, but I'm saying ability to identify goodness in people. And
I would ask you this.
yeah,
Who inspired Mr. B.K. Shah to be B.K. Shah?
We have to ask BK sir. We don't know.
There wasn't anybody. He never talked about any person who had.
No, nobody would have asked him.
Spiritually inclined. That was
Okay.
his personality. He was spiritually inclined.
Okay.
To probably study Bhagavad Gita and things like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he never talked about any leader because he would have, as an actuary, you are generally not being influenced by any human being. Actuaries are very mechanical people,
Sure.
mathematical people.
Right.
So Mr. Vikesha, I imagine, in his early days, would have been only focusing on his actuarial responsibilities rather than looking at human beings or even deriving some kind of a knowledge from the human beings who were interacting with him above him.
People.
That would not have had any impact on the way he was functioning.
Okay. I understand that point.
It's an individual. Some
Sure.
individuals are very extraordinary.
So on the lighter side, sir, I have really in our evening phone calls or some calls, we keep having a lot of sense of humor is great high for you, and we really enjoy the conversation. In one of those conversations, you always said, if somebody has cheated you or somebody has not done the way in which you wanted them to do, so normally people complain about the others. But you always said, the choice is ours. We've only showed our head. So he has done his job. So you can't blame anybody else. That kind of a blameless attitude, that made you very, very strong. This is what my perception is. You said, like, you always say, no, even in the latest conversation with you, you said somebody has not participated in a particular insurance business, and they were very big, large organization. And you said, I was wondering why they didn't participate, why Shriram General Insurance participated, and exactly the claim came. Did they use any other extra brain not to participate? And you are only questioning whether your participation was right. Even at this, I can't say age, you are pretty young and high energy battery today, but you're still continuously looking at whether the decision was right to participate, right, wrong, or participate. So you eventually get, I would say, internalize the issues and look at what it is. So this is a quality of yours, where it has come from.
This is your genetic makeup.
Yeah.
See, human beings, particularly men, I am an enthusiast for women. I consider women to be greater human beings than men.
Okay.
That's been my feeling.
Sure.
Not because I was more attached to my mother, nothing of that kind. My mother was a very neutral kind of an individual. She was an extremely intelligent and a deficient person. But I wouldn't say that she was very sentimental or affectionate towards her children. Nothing of that kind. She will do her duty-driven kind of a person she was. But I always felt a lot of respect and concern for women, which continues even today. And I think these things are part of an human personality.
But you always advocate, sir. You always advocate others. Think பண்ணுங்க சொல்றீங்க எப்படி கேளு அப்படின்னு.
One component of the human being where the woman is less affected by that than men is narcissism. Narcissism is a word which I think was coined by Sigmund Freud, great psychoanalyst.
Sure.
He drew it from one of those stories, Greek mythological stories, where there was a prince. In those days, there were no mirrors.
Okay.
This prince's name was Narcissus. And he was looking at a tank. He was in a water body. He was looking at it. He saw his image in the water. And he fell in love with himself. It was so beautiful to him. He fell in love with his own image, which he saw in the water. Therefore, he said, this self-love, love for oneself, he called it narcissism.
I see.
You see it in human beings in a big way. They would like to look at themselves as they are something special. Anything connected with them will look one of my very close relatives. When he buys a car, he will be able to hear the sound of the engine
And say,
music for him. My car, the sound of the engine is something which is very special. You don't get it anywhere in the car. Anything connected with his house, his shirt, his hat, everything will be so nice for him. This is one, which means he is a bit more narcissistic than some other person who doesn't feel. He may feel that his head is okay, his crop is okay and all.
So,
he may not feel that the car is making music, where other cars are okay.
will you define this as selfishness as a virtue kind of a thing?
I would say it is selfishness. Because narcissistic people can also be nice people.
Okay.
A selfish person tries to take advantage of others. Narcissism is different and selfishness is not different.
All right.
A non-narcissistic person could also be very selfish and vice versa. These are all underrated things.
Okay.
So narcissism is something which leads to a bit of a lack of happiness in life.
Mhm.
Because you start sympathizing with yourself.
Oh, okay.
When somebody abuses you, you feel very hurt.
Mhm.
You feel very sensitive because you love yourself.
Mhm.
If your child is going to be abused by your neighbor, you feel terrible about it.
I understand.
Because you love your child, and therefore somebody talks badly about him, then you feel the pain. Similarly, when somebody talks badly about you or abuses you or something like that, you feel bad because you love him, you love yourself. If you did not have narcissism, then you will not bother about what the other fellow says, whether he is going to abuse you or whether he is going to give you a praise for you. It is not going to impact. So it is this narcissism in human beings which makes them feel sad.
Mhm.
When something goes wrong, they feel I am being treated badly.
Mhm.
I am a person whom I love, and I am not getting a fair deal in the community, in the society, etc. So I feel sad. So narcissism contributes to human misery.
Mhm.
If people are lucky enough not to have or to have a lesser quantum of narcissism,
That's your genes. That's what you're saying.
then they will be happy to be. That's all. Not that they are making an effort, they are doing
Ah.
something out of any philosophy. No way.
Mhm.
It happens to be that their genes are such that they don't have the narcissistic component in their personality.
Mhm.
So they are more happy than others.
But you are matching the Pare's principle, sir. It says 5 to 95. Normally, they want 80 to 20 in an organization. What you are saying is at least about 5% of the total population will have less narcissism or happy about it. It's varying also. 5 to 6%, 8%, it can.
Each person, you can probably, there is a meter or an instrument to measure the quantum of narcissism.
Yeah.
You should find it varies.
Okay.
Very strongly narcissistic people have said.
Uh-huh.
And they will cry about themselves more.
Uh-huh.
They will
நான் சொல்லுவோம் துக்கத்தை கொண்டாடுற இளம் அந்த மாதிரி people they really celebrate துக்கங்கள் or sorrow.
such people they are narcissistic because sometimes dukkata kondadrathu could be somebody else is suffering also.
Okay.
Like Bharatiyar, for example. Bharatiyar to some extent might have been narcissistic also. But he would suffer because somebody else is suffering.
Okay.
I was reading somewhere that he couldn't sleep the whole night thinking about the trials and tribulations that are being undergone by Indian workers in Mauritius.
Sir, I have listened to you. Sir, you used to feel terrible about the entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, how they are suffering, a lack of.
Lose whole night.
I know, but you still. நான் அதிலே அசந்து போயிருப்பேன். என்ன ஒருமே அசராதவர் இந்த மாதிரி பாயிண்ட்டுக்கெல்லாம் அசராரா எதுக்கு வருத்தப்படுறாரு எல்லாம் யூஸ் டு திங்க். பட் தட் இஸ் வேர் ஐம் சேயிங் சார் there's the qualities like there is no ego at all for you. What we say ego means that ஒரு பேரும் புகழும் உங்களுக்கு வேணும். I see.
Ego is a consequence of narcissism.
I see.
Because your ego is what you think highly about yourself.
Right.
You think that you are entitled to a particular treatment.
Right.
You are entitled to respect by people. You are entitled to being consulted on various things, etc. That is what you loosely call ego. That arises out of the fact that you love yourself.
Right.
If there is no narcissism, there will be no ego. That's what I think. Ego will be much less.
Right. So the other quality is you are never when paranoid feelings it has never affected you. You are really worried about the past or tomorrows and all. Is it because that currentness is reached you or because anybody who can bounce with their all the issues like
You are asking a question as to how and why.
this is again more of a travel.
Just like that, that's all.
I see.
A person is like that. My classmate, professor asked me why it is so. He said something which was very interesting. It's like that. That's all.
Okay.
Why, how, it's a description. It's like that. That's all. There's no reason. There's no explanation for it. It's like that. So paranoia as they call it,
Yeah.
that comes when you are concerned about yourself too much.
That's what I'm saying. We are most
It
of
comes out of your own self now.
okay.
But then I would say a lot of misery for human beings arises out of narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the woman who feels much less narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen
I see.
women being too. There are egoistic women.
There are, and therefore they are, I would say they are quite narcissistic, yes. But I had seen the intensity of narcissism is more in men.
I see.
The prevalence of narcissism is much more among men than among women. And women's misery generally is caused by somebody else's suffering.
I see.
A child suffering makes a mother suffer a great deal. A daughter suffers because her father, at the age of 84, 85, I would say as a man, you can push off. 84, 85, you don't know. But then a daughter doesn't feel that way. She feels very bad if her husband or her father at the age of 85 is on her deathbed. Her suffering comes out of something else. It doesn't come out of her own, narcissism.
Now, do you think the women are much stronger than men?
I
Is what
would
you're
say
saying?
they are different, totally different. They are not narcissistic.
Okay.
They are much less narcissistic.
All right.
Therefore, they are not the cause of their own misery.
That's what I'm saying. So better, they will handle the issues better.
Individual's misery
Mm-hmm.
arises out of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a woman's misery arises out of the suffering of other people. Her son, her child, or her sister, or her mother, they feel bad. So there's a difference between what triggers the misery in a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they are also not very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's men who are very competitive.
Okay.
They want to see that the other fellow is somehow put down. The woman doesn't feel that competitive. There are women, once again, as I
Sure.
said, these are all generalizations.
Yeah, more chromosome of men will be with them.
We can only talk about percentage.
Okay.
The validity is 60%, 70%, 40% like that. But there will be, as they say, outliers and all everywhere. There will be exceptions everywhere. And different kinds of exceptions.
So another important point I want to check with you was you never believed in personal wealth. And second was, but performance means efficiency index. Efficiency index, profitability is your efficiency index. Whereas wealth creation for personal is not needed. But as an organization, wealth creation is important. Don't you think it's such a dichotomy? People would like to say, why can't I have both? I'll have my personal wealth created very well. I'll also focus on my education, organization efficiency. Why not the wealth creation can be common?
You see, again, difference between personalities.
Okay.
For me, maybe because I was born reasonably wealthy.
Okay.
I was born in a family in which my father had ensured we were reasonably wealthy. We might not have been very rich or anything, but okay. In that community, no wants, things were quite okay. Maybe because of that, I wouldn't say, can't say because of that, because my brother who came up in the same surrounding, he wanted to be wealthy.
Right.
I wasn't interested in fact, not being very competitive was part of my life. Even when I was 12 or 13 studying in a class, I was not interested in how much of marks my neighbor got. My neighbor will be very, very anxious. He'll say, well, as soon as my answer paper comes, he will look at what marks I got and add up for me and see whether I have been, by mistake, given more marks than what I was entitled to. Because he would have got less marks than me, and so he was looking for somewhere to find out whether I was getting the least interest in it. If you are getting more marks, it didn't affect me. If I was getting higher marks, that also did not make me feel happy. Nor did I, because I was not competitive.
Mm-hmm.
That comparison with others, it wasn't there. And therefore, paranoia also won't come.
Mm-hmm.
When you start comparing, you think that the other person being better off.
Right.
He is doing something or the other in order to see that you are always down, kind of a thinking will develop.
Right.
That arises out of the fact that you are very competitive. You can say you are very jealous, you are very envious. All these things need to be taken.
That's right.
To say this is problem. Being competitive is being glorified. Your Institute of Management and all that. They say you should be very ambitious.
No, that is precisely in our channel. We said excellence is totally different from ambition and avariciousness. Sir, in this, I feel slightly contradiction, but you may be absolutely
Contradictions could be there.
Yeah, I know. You also appreciate dissent. In the sense, what I meant was, you had always said in the atram padavipit to grow or the aggressive somehow grow is different from the growth is you have been always saying an industry to see some cycles, you need at least about 10 years. But after this Reliance growth in 92 or 93 economic growth, everyone wanted to grow as fast as possible. But you always said, what is a big hurry? Patience has been your mantra. What is a big hurry? You used to say, why not we build the business properly, build the base properly, then the growth will come automatically. If I look back, that has been the great success of Shriram Group which I'm seeing it. Is it something you say one should not look at growth, but you have grown something exponentially over after some point of time. So you have been advocating growth, but advocating growth means on efficiency part of it, it should do properly a job, not inorganic growth you never believed
There
in.
have been people in business
Okay.
who have been driven or who have been probably motivated, you can use whatever word you want, not by growth in personal wealth,
Mhm.
not in terms of growth in reputation in the marketplace,
Right.
etc., but who have been doing things the right way, focusing on what is good for the community. Tata's is an example.
I know. I think I'm aware of it. Sure.
Culture of the Tata Group had been
Mhm.
not to create wealth for oneself, that was incidental,
Okay.
but creating wealth for the community.
Mhm.
It's the only way to make our people less and less poor as we go along.
Right.
The way to do it is to create something which will create value for the community. Then the question of sharing it starts.
Right.
So there are people, maybe probably I could also be a person of that kind.
Right.
The focus was on creating something which is of value for the community, for the poor people around us. That has been my objective, probably. And therefore, you don't look at other people's growth,
Mhm.
whether they have been growing faster. If they are growing faster, we are happy because somebody is growing
Yeah,
faster. So community is being benefited. Because Dhirubhai Ambani is doing extremely well, I always used to feel very happy about it.
Right.
Because he is doing something for the people in the country.
Right.
Which is exactly what Gandhiji also did. Gandhiji did not disapprove of wealth, did not disapprove of Birlas and others working very hard in order to create more and more wealth.
Mhm.
He said, you are creating it for the community mentality, you should be there.
Right.
That's why he talked about the rich people, the people who create wealth, should be encouraged to create more and more wealth.
Mhm.
But then there should be influence to see that they look at wealth as trustees of public wealth,
Right.
not as personal wealth.
Right.
That's the difference. There have been people like that.
I know. I remember.
People like that.
Yeah, even from Bill Gates onwards to Melinda, I think the CSR kind of a contribution has been very great from them. And over a period of time, I think Bill Gates and all left the growth of the business to the CEOs and others, and he has been more of an innovator kind of a thing. But what I meant was, our group has grown from very, very small beginnings. As a first generation entrepreneur, you have been an example of to have a stabilized and sustained growth. That has been.
Ask me as to how it has happened. Probably because in our organization,
Mhm.
the freedom that people
Yeah, that's what I was coming to.
doing what they were doing,
Right.
that was high, as it was in New India Insurance Company.
Right.
Not that I derived it from my New India experience. I don't think so.
Right.
My personality was probably I was a bit more lazy than others. I did not want to go on finding out what my companion or my partner is trying to do. Leave it to him. Later on, I will find out what he is. Will tell me what he has done. So this monitoring, which takes a lot of energy and time and knowledge, I was never doing. I said, if somebody is doing it well, giving the freedom to do it, maybe he will do it in a different way. You don't have to structure that it has to be done only in this way.
He could do it probably in a different way, more effectively than the way you think you can do a particular thing.
I think you used
And
to
in the
share
process-
script, you identifying the person.
இதனால் இவன்
இதான்,
முடிக்கும் என்று ஆய்ந்து அதனை அவன் கண் விடல்.
That was the always.
That was a natural process. ஆய்ந்து means you have to examine a lot of parameters and then add all those things. That was kind of ஆய்ந்தing was not being done by me. Okay, instinct tells you, as it did to Mr. B.K. Shah. I would say he was driven by instinct. He would say this person is capable of achieving something. In fact, my colleague who is now, he's almost 90 years old now, Mr. A.C. Mukherjee in New India Insurance Company, he is now in Calcutta. He joined New India Insurance Company as a management trainee a few years before I joined as a manager. He was, within 6 months or 4 months of training, Mr. Shah called him and said, look, you are going to Sri Lanka. There's a good friend who has started an insurance company, Selinco Insurance Company, and you go and set up their marine department and later on the other departments. And next few months, you have to be assisting them in. Mukherjee was taken aback. He said, I am only 6 months as a trainee here. I don't know. How do you think I can do all these things? I have no idea whatsoever. Mr. Shah said, you will be able to do it, you go. He went there and stayed there for 2 years or 3 years and assisted them in creating, even today, Selinco is the largest and the most respected insurance company in Sri Lanka. how did he choose A.C. Mukherjee out of around 10 or 11 people who were there as trainees who were recruited simultaneously? He chose Mukherjee to do the job. So that way I had seen Mr. B.K. Shah selecting people
Right.
specifically for certain positions. They wouldn't have fitted into another position.
Right. I have seen
But
that.
what they were doing in a particular position at that point of time was something which others could not have done. These are all things which are come to some people naturally.
And another point of dissent.
That's why I don't very much believe in your management institute and all that.
Sure.
Nor do these webinars which are starting, you know, how to do this, how to do this. So it keeps people engaged, but I don't think it will have any impact on performance of people. I don't think so.
Another point of dissent, or I always looked at the American Constitution, sir. It was built the Constitution was built for the people who have been, non-conformist from Europe and various parts of Europe. They went to US and they didn't want to follow a very, very heavy religious methods of Catholicism or thinking process, everything restricted. So they want to be a free personality. So they created an American Constitution. It says choice is everything in life. So if you want to get destroyed, there are enough places, and if you want to really grow, innovate, there is a constitution. Similarly, you have a left sort of a constitution. It should be shared wealth, not a personal wealth creation. But both these left and right, they never stayed in their extremes. They had to move towards the common. In that, I have seen in your style of functioning, when it comes to your personal wealth creation, you always felt you are a left. When it comes to the right, if it's going to keep people happy, you never discourage them. Suppose they want to, I remember my own vice chairman was there then in Sriram. Standard 2000 car, if he wants to buy, you would have even cried not to buy, but you never said no. But you were never, even today, I don't think you own a car or you own a personal wealth or whatever it is. So is there the contradiction in terms of you used to tell people, at the same time today, without the consumerism, Shriram City Union Finance is not there, sir. So that is where I want to know.
No, there I differ, Ramani. We hope we are right, that Shriram City Union Finance's financing of two-wheelers is not consumption financing.
Not
At least
I'm
our
saying TV.
consumer,
thing.
we don't
Consumer
finance
group.
TVs and all that. By and large, our financing has always been.
In productive purposes.
So our two-wheelers, 60-70% of them use their two-wheelers for their practicing their profession, running around here and there and all that. It is not for going to film or taking the family out for hotel or something like that, a restaurant or something like that.
But revenue expenditures you have to have. That's why the chit was there for a revenue expenditure. Be it like
We cannot, it would be there.
Yeah.
It would also be there. It's not as if you say that these are all things which are prohibited. But the focus or the emphasis will be on providing credit for something which will create an enterprise or an activity which will create wealth, rather than for consumption. I have not been able to understand the American approach of consumption-driven economies.
Right.
May not be relevant to India is what I believe. Consumption will take place when there is wealth. When there is wealth creation, people are going to have a share of the wealth. Then they will start consuming, definitely. That kind of a consumer-driven economy is okay.
Right.
But you cannot simply say, already all of you start consuming, and then who is there to produce things which can be consumed? So the focus for a society like ours, like most of the societies in this world today, it's not consumption-driven economies you should create. You should create economies which will produce something continuously, more and more efficiently as you go along. So I think in that there will not be any contradiction or anything like that. But situations are very different from one situation is very different from things you see in Nigeria, for example, is very different from what you see in India. And what you see in Tamil Nadu is very different from what you see in Maharashtra. There is so much of differences between different societies which we may not be able to perceive even, but we know that they are very different.
Another quality I've seen, maybe before getting into few
Very
questions.
interesting, Venkatramani. I have seen people from Andhra Pradesh, two things I have observed. That aesthetic sense, looking around for beautiful things and all that, I see it was less in Andhra Pradesh. But then they were able to create wealth. Today, if you look at the United States, the number of people from Andhra Pradesh who are doing very well in US is much higher
Much higher.
than people from Tamil Nadu.
Right.
Similarly, the industrialists in Tamil Nadu, all your textile industry, your Ramasubramania Rajas, all those people were people who came from Andhra Pradesh. The Tamil Nadu did not create so many businessmen as the migrant people from Andhra Pradesh created it. But it goes along with a lack of ability to understand the beautiful things in life. So you don't have much of a good literature in current literature in Andhra Pradesh. I used to discuss it with my friend. He used to get annoyed. No, we have got one or two people. You don't have a T. Janagiraman there. You don't have a Pudumai Pithan in Andhra Pradesh. You do not have a K. Balachandar. Maybe they will say we had on Vishwanath, Satyanarayana, Vishwanath, K. Vishwanath. There might be one or two, but the kind of a person that K. Balachandar is, you did not have. So these two things, again, personalities. Between one population and another, there are genetic variances of a minor kind. It is there. A few things I have observed, though I can't create a theory for it, these are all accidental. It doesn't mean that automatically it happens. But in certain communities or in certain geographies, there is a higher percentage of gifted people. It happens. It is historically it has developed. It is not God given, but it's an accident. When I say accident, when you try this, I keep talking to people. They don't believe sometimes, but when you toss a coin, it could be head or tails. I have been telling them. So people don't believe that you toss a coin 50 times. Once, all the 50 will be heads. People find it difficult to believe, but that is true. As a probabilist, I would say it is certain that in one of those experiments of tossing a coin 50 times, and in one of those experiments where you are tossing a coin 1,000 times, 1,000 heads will come. And 1,000,000 heads will come in one of those. It is a certainty. It's not something which may happen. No, it will happen. Similarly, these strengths of a particular kind and weaknesses in a particular kind has got I would say, a distribution of a particular kind in a society. Because in those days, societies were not intermingling to the extent that they are doing today. Today, there is more of intermingling of people and all that in the United States than in India.
Sure.
In earlier days, it was much less in India, and therefore, certain characteristics settle down in certain. That way, I found that Andhra Pradesh had entrepreneurship combined with a lack of aesthetic sense. It gives me satisfaction to say that your weakness probably in one area, which is all right, because they are creating wealth for the community, therefore it is very good.
Even if they go to New Hyderabad, which is created, or
Again, Gujarat also you will see, Gujarat has not created any musicians.
Yeah.
Marathi, there are a lot of musicians, first class. Bhimsen Joshi. Bhimsen Joshi was a Kannadiga, he was not a Maharashtrian, but Bhimsen Joshi was in that border place. But many Maharashtrian musicians, creators of music had been there. You don't see anyone from Gujarat. Oh, Deepak Raja will come for a fight with me if I say so. But it is true that you don't have musicians as you have from Bengal, for example. You have from Bengal, you have from Maharashtra, you don't have any from.
I mean, I could understand. So basically, a sort of a banya or a businessman.
That success.
That success has been more in Andhra Pradesh.
It has evolved, it was surfaced like that.
Surfaced like that.
The talent for being successful in business was there.
Okay.
The talent for being artistic was there here.
Yeah.
That was less in a particular population, more of it in certain population. That's why populations of personalities, like human personalities, populations' personalities also vary.
Okay, more on the management, sir, is the last question. After that, we'll just go into some very loved subject of yours, insurance, which I'll come to it later. Just last question.
I don't love insurance. Insurance is very dull.
I know, but anyway, I will come to that. I meant insurance to the extent of the beliefs and optimism and
I would only say this.
destiny.
Among all commercial activities,
Yeah.
I'm taking away your manufacturing. Among all commercial activities, insurance is less dull than others. That's all I would say. I would say it is very interesting. It is less dull than, for example, money lending or financing.
Okay, now the point I was trying to arrive at was I've seen in Shriram Group culture very significant culture, or it has been propagated by you, or I would say you would have.
You say evolved, use the word evolve. It has evolved in
Okay,
nobody
sir,
created it.
Really evolved. Okay. But the trigger point was you always said Any success is a group responsibility. Similarly, failure can be taken by the leader, but success comes, it is a group's responsibility. So there is no particular pressure on any one person performing very well, that you have been always advocating against it. I think that is how the evolving of Shriram group came. That has reduced the pressure on the system for performance, but the best performance has been coming. How did you arrive at that as a combination? And is it again?
I
just
asked
like
you,
that?
I told you right at the beginning, don't ask me the question how and what.
Okay, in your experience, how did
As my friend said, it just
it
happens.
just happen?
When my professor was asking me that question, he said, it just happens.
But this gives a lot of tension free, sir, less tensions. There won't be many suicides in the executive ladders. In our organization, everybody is very comfortable. Overall, now I used to think, why can't we just do something against whatever RT has been practicing? I did meet some very few success, but a lot of failures. in the sense, like, why can't I try it differently? But I think you have managed to,
See, ultimately, Ramani, whether you try one way or the other,
again, you
what
said
is in
statistics,
you,
1.1.
what is in you will come out. You can't, by going to IIM Ahmedabad, you are not going to change the way you are going to interact with people, interact with situations. It won't change at all. It will not.
Okay, now what I wanted to get into insurance, why it was, sir, the organization has grown really in terms of the financial services or retail financial services are touching the productivity for the society, the financial has been doing well. Now the organization is becoming very, very significant in terms of life insurance and general insurance. And there also, it has been a totally different methods. What compared to any other insurance company, what we see is lesser capital than any of the insurance company or a great performance. But it really says that you have been saying that performance of a company, efficiency index is profit and reserve what you have created. So that is all been happening. But I just wanted to touch this question so that you can take as many minutes as you want. Then we can close the interview. What I want to know is the insurance awareness in terms of a personal or a vehicle or a general insurance. The awareness is so low. And you have been even advocating me or people like me, go and tell people the woes of not getting the insurance. And then you also said Indian community may be more higher in terms of people think Kadol Pathabar or destiny or optimism. These three qualities are much more. So what do you think? Where the CEOs are? And you also said the promoters may not know so much because they are very optimistic and driven by their growth. The CFOs or CEOs are all going by the lenders who have given money. So they just suggest some insurance, they go by it. So what is that message you want to give it to the people on insurance, basically?
You see, to appreciate the need for insurance, a person should have the ability to imagine something in the future.
Okay.
It's not given to everybody to be in a position to imagine the future. What you see in front of you is the present.
Okay.
The present is dominating your mind all the time.
Right.
To move away from the present and imagine what is going to be there at the end of 5 years, at the
So
end of
then
10
will
years.
it not give paranoia for somebody?
The right is a healthy kind of paranoia is okay.
That's what I
You
want.
may think that I will die. I can die suddenly. I can go in a car and meet with an accident and die. You should be able to see that. A risk-aware person,
That's what it's coming.
a risk-aware person is able to see that. Nobody tells him that you should be able to see it, you should visual. It is natural for him. In a way, I have been a risk-aware person. I see things going wrong automatically. Nobody has told me that you have to look into it. Now, because I had studied probability, I should look at probability of my suddenly something, the fan. In fact, when I lie down under a ceiling fan, I think if the fan falls on my head, what will happen? So I move my head a bit here. To that extent, I am sensitive. It's not because I studied probability at the Statistical Institute. Even before that, that's the personality. So ultimately, some people are more risk aware than others. Some people are intensely risk aware than some other people. In fact, I was told by about a friend of ours that he has been told by somebody that he will die if he gets out of his bed on Thursdays. So on Thursdays, he stays only in the bed from morning to next day morning. To that extent, he is risk aware. He perceives that risk because he has faith in the person who had told him that if he gets out of his bed, he will be dying. So To that extent, he is risk aware. But most of the people just don't bother. And it is a bit difficult. When they see something, probably they become aware of risk a bit more. There is a smasana vairagyam or something like that, they would say, no. When you go and participate, then suddenly you feel, then you start saying that everything is very uncertain in this world, but that lasts only for a few minutes, then you come back. And then you start living in present. The ability to live in the future, the ability to see the future is not given to everybody. It's again a personality. Under these circumstances, how do you sell insurance? How do you make people? Yes, it requires effort. It requires a team of people who will put that, including pressurizing that person. It is not merely by stimulating their imagination, making them see the future, combined with some kind of a friendly pressure, pestering kind of a thing. That has to be done in order to make people aware of insurance. And that is where I was interesting. There is Tamil writer, you would not have heard about it in those days, 1940s, and Anand Venkatan, there was one SVV.
I heard of SVV.
SVV was a lawyer who used to write some humorous things in the Hindu or something like that.
Right.
So Mr. Kalki and Vasan went to him and said, why don't you write in Tamil? Then he started writing some. There was a very interesting thing which I read, a small story which I communicated to our people here. It talks about a lawyer who goes to the court every day. His friend is an life insurance agent. So he comes and pesters him to take some life insurance. He said, I don't want any life insurance, I will not take it. But he is a very persistent fellow, he is harassing him. So he wanted to get rid of this fellow. So he said, okay, he had bought a car. He said, come with me, I will go in a car. So he and his friend who was pestering him, they went in a car. Once they reached about 10 kilometers outside the city, he said, we'll stop the car for some time. Both of them got down. Then he told his driver, no, let us move, we'll leave the fellow behind. We'll go back to the town. This fellow was shouting, you are going, but then he came back. He was left stranded. His friend was left stranded. Then this man thought, yes, I have now taught him a lesson, he will not come and pester me anymore. After a few days, he saw when he was coming back from the court, he saw this fellow coming out from his house. His house. Why should he coming out? And he was wondering. Then his wife told him, look, we need life insurance. Something can happen to you, then what will happen to this? I think life insurance is very necessary. Your friend had been talking to me about this. Why don't you take life insurance? Then he is forced to take life insurance. And he ends it saying, okay, ultimately taken everything together, life insurance is good for me. His ability to see, he was not so much concerned about the future of his children as his wife was.
Okay, that's also.
So the lesson I was trying to communicate to our people was that instead of talking to the householder, you talk to the mother, you talk to the wife. Because they are concerned. I see that happening. I see the household worker who draws hardly 3,000, 4,000 rupees salary. She is spending money in order to educate her children in an English medium school. Because they are so concerned about the welfare of their children. Men, if they have money, they go to your taskmark or something, then if something is left over, then it will go for the education. But women by and large are concerned about the future of their children. Therefore, they will think of what will happen if this fellow who is earning something at least, if he is not around. So they will be receptive to the idea of going in for life insurance. So I said, focus and communicate somehow with the mother, the wife, rather than with the man. In addition, of course, the man still is a nuisance. So you have to talk to him also, but his ego also is very important. But then the focus in terms of convincing a person about the need for insurance has to be addressed, the efforts will have to be addressed at the woman in the household.
But you, in the industries, you have been always saying, a lot of, the latest Vizag plant getting into environment problem with burst and so many losses have come. You are saying that the CEOs or the promoters not aware of all these issues. And
there are, you see, first of all, the insurance company people themselves are not aware of risk. That's the problem. If they think purely in terms of premium to be collected, promotion, profit that is to be made. They should look at what will go wrong with the customer. They don't know. The risk awareness is the worst thing, the worst component of our own salespeople are the people in the insurance industry. They only talk about how much of premium you have to pay and how much of commission you will get. They don't talk to them as to what could happen to your because they don't focus on that. They are not focusing on risk. The insurance man is not focusing on risk, and therefore his customer is not focusing on risk.
So it starts from
It
home.
has to start from there.
Home, right. Sir, this very important point, risk, whatever you are saying now. You used to always say in any organization, 2-3 MDs should be there, and also separately one of the MDs should look at the risk manager. He is the risk manager. So you will not blame anybody. Anything fall comes, you will say blame it on risk manager. So now whatever you have been saying, now all the banks have a committee. There is a risk manager, there is a credit, there is this.
You
And
see-
it is getting spoiled there. No, this is making becomes very.
You see, by putting a man as the general manager risk management, you don't create a person who is risk aware.
Right.
You take somebody has to be promoted as general manager's position. The vacancy is only in the risk management area. So you are putting him there.
Yeah.
It's like the insurance company fellows, they call him a chief underwriter. The fellow has no idea whatsoever about what underwriting is. But because he is the senior most person to be promoted, and the only vacancy that is available is general manager underwriting, so you put him there. In this, even Mudikum and Rahindu doesn't take place in any organization. The senior most person who has to be somehow provided a slot, he goes to a particular place, it is vacant, that's all. That is why things are being managed badly in all government organizations. They don't think that it is important at all. They are not aware of it. The culture doesn't make them think. There are exceptions once again. There are people who are naturally very clever, intelligent and wise. I would say it's more than intelligence. It is wisdom. I have seen government servants being very shrewd, and there are people who practice at all in a limited area to the extent that they can influence their environment, they do. But mostly it's not there.
The last question is, what you would like to convey to the current generation who is facing this COVID? Everybody is mentally disturbed. You always say Sivan Kadami, even though you don't believe in Sivan. But
No,
you always
what
say
I
Sivanayam
tell my colleagues is, only people who are beyond the age of 60, they need be concerned about this coronavirus. Because if they get infected, there is 5 out of 100 may die.
Well,
But
that's
if
high
they,
percentage. Acceptable.
it's not a high percentage. If they don't get this, in the next 1 year, they will get another influenza or something like that. 3 of them will die in any case.
Right.
The extra person who is going to die because of corona is only 2 out of 100.
Right.
So the risk they are running of dying because of corona is only 2 out of 100. This is for the elderly people. For the younger people, there is nothing at all for them to fear, because even if they get that infection, it's only 3 days or 4 days they will be incapacitated, that's all. Mortality rate is extremely low. If mortality still takes place, I always talk about people who very young people looking absolutely healthy, as it happened in your own family.
Sure.
A person suddenly just like that dying also happens. You have to take into account all those things. That's why what they look at is, when they look at the impact of the coronavirus, they say in the last 6 months, how many people died? Not corona, how many people died? And in the previous 6 months, how many people died in a community? Whether the number of deaths that are taking place in that community, whether it has gone up significantly, only that alone is attributable to corona.
So one is the health side.
Because I was told, and but the economists had written in the early stages of corona, that in the United States every year
Yeah.
about 1 lakh or 1 million people are dying out
Influenza.
of ordinary influenza.
Yeah, I remember that. Sir, what I was asking you a question is, now that is as a health reason, whatever you are saying.
Today they are all afraid of corona, in my opinion, youngsters etc., because they find a very good excuse for sleeping sitting at home and watching television and things like that.
No, sir.
They like it.
No,
It is not as if they are scared or anything like that, no.
No,
In fact, I also feel that it's very nice, you are orderly, denso or something like that. You deliver things which you have not eaten before in your life, you start eating
Yes,
now.
sir, that is the
So it
right.
is nice. So everybody wants to be there.
Even last night I got a call from a very, very successful agent of our company. He was talking to me for 1 hour, as you used to say, at least give somebody a patient hearing. That's what we learned from you. He is asking, what is going to be the future, sir? Whether these businesses will have the similar thing. I've been earning, I've been very, very correct in putting my money in properties, rental. No, the rentals are not coming now. My business has come down. I'm really worried about the future. So they're all, psyche is really bothering them. What is going to be their future? I said, again you will find a new methods to.
See, if you analyze it, Venkatramani, it is because of the reaction of the general public to corona. It is not corona created.
Okay.
It is the way we have reacted to corona that is creating all this problem. If we had not had your lockdown and all that, the way it
Yeah.
has been managed today, economy would not have been hurt at all.
That's what I was trying to.
That's the point. Corona is not the problem. The reaction to the corona, the irrational, foolish, idiotic reaction, saying that it's a very great fight we are going, it's a war we are going to, all kinds of things have been talked about. When it was a trivial thing, it should have been treated as a triviality. But it has been glorified by some people as if it's a big war which we are going to fight and all that. Then that had spread all over the place.
Okay.
So what is the problem today facing your friend
Yeah.
about rents going down, everything going
Yeah,
down,
going down.
has been created by the reaction of the government, of the people, of the media, all of them influenced by the government in becoming, reacting to the corona the way we reacted to it. We should have gone about our jobs as usual.
Right.
We should have gone today, for the last 4 months, public transport is not there at all.
Yeah,
Why?
correct.
What is the problem? If only younger people are traveling by bus, and let them get your virus, they will be there. Are we not getting cold? Are we not getting out of cold? Are we not infecting everybody around when we are in cold? In fact, in this room, when somebody is having a cold, I keep the windows open, you will, still I am getting the cold also. But we are getting out of it.
Right.
I may die also even by cold. It could be influenza. At my age, I could die. Yes, that possibility always exists. A ceiling fan may fall on your head. The hysterical reaction to corona on the part of the entire population, which was created by, I would say, by the authorities, creating this kind of an, I would say, panic among people, that is responsible for the economic damage.
Right.
The economy has been damaged. It could be, one could see right from the beginning the way it was being managed. One could see that the wealth creation is going to drop by at least 15%
Right.
this year. They are talking about 8%, 9%.
Right.
I have been talking about, when I talked about the wealth creation coming down by 5%, they were talking about 2%, they moved to 5%. I have moved to 10%, now they are nearing the 10%. I am now moving to 15%.
Minus.
Because minus 15. Still they are not doing anything. That's the problem. Nobody is doing anything about it. The seriousness of the situation, because it is affecting the poor people, they are not concerned. We are all getting our Dunzos, happily Dunzo is delivering everything. Well-to-do people like you and me are quite absolutely okay.
Okay.
So who should we care about the people who are dying every day? The concern is not there. Public transport, the activities, all of them should have been started in full earnest at least 3 months back. There could have been a 1 week's lockdown to make people aware that this will spread. Beyond that, nothing was needed.
Sure.
Very tragic.
Thank you very much, sir. So I think whatever you said, the genetics as well as the inspiration can be a combination which can make people to perform in a particular scale. And as we said, it's about 5 to 6% and 94% of any
In a way, உன் தலையெழுத்துப்படி நடக்கும்னு சொல்றேன்.
So you tend to become a fatalist or what?
No, but that good things also happen because of that. Be happy about it, that's all.
Yeah.
Don't think that it could have been done in a different
No,
way.
in
and all
that
that.
sense, you also say when the pressure is on the job, you always say you try. Kadakalana, next time you try. That's where you always say.
Or try something else.
Try something else. So just don't be worried about it. So it was a great sharing of your experience for the youngsters or the younger generation. Thank
If you don't do well, your colleague will do very well. So it is okay, no?
It's
Why
okay.
should you do things well?
So nice of Sri R. Tyagarajan, Shriram Group chairman. Actually, he didn't want me to introduce him as Padma Bhushan, but most of you know he is a Padma Bhushan awarded by the government of India.
Turn.
Yeah.
It was not awarded. It was managed by our Murali. These things don't happen just like that. Somebody
I know,
works
anyway,
for it.
that
That's why I don't have respect for these things at all.
I think even whether it is managed or recommended, that is where the most important point is people should not get unnoticed, and that is being brought down to the. I think this is a great job done by, if at all, by somebody, Murali or somebody in our organization. I think we need to even why this interview. I think it should go into archives of Shriram Group so that we will have some kind of a. I would say even if it can trigger some 5%, 6% of our group are the public at large. It's going to be a great contribution by RT. We call him affectionately as RT sir. So thank you, Mr. Tyagarajan sir, and the channel is so blessed to have your briefing today.
I joined this organization in 2002 because I was in the board of integrated enterprises where Mr. RT was also there. During that association that he asked me was to join in the Shriram Group, then I joined. So my association with the Shriram Group is, the relationship with the Shriram Group is excellent. Personally, I like RT very much. RT is a very great personality and a very intelligent person and very simple. One good thing about R. Tyagarajan is that he created this organization under the partnership concept. So right from the beginning that he informed all the people that they are all partners. So and he shared the wealth along with all the 30 people. So by that way the partnership is created with all the 30 people. With that is why the organization is now so strong and everybody in the organization feels that it is their own organization. And today's growth is on account of that partnership mentality among the people.
I first met RT in 1991, in October or November. We were meeting him for the first time. He used to do a monthly review of the chit fund business at that point of time. While discussing about expansion, he gave one advice. Please remember that anything that grows fast is a weed and not a plant, and we have to be very careful in expanding financial services business, and in money lending you cannot expand rapidly. You have to have a very calibrated approach to money lending is what is the first advice that he gave us. And he was always insisting on building teams. He said, don't run after growth, run after people, build teams, and the teams will build business. These are the two takeaways that I have, very strong takeaways I have had from my interactions with RT. Also, over a course of time, his philosophy, his thought process has influenced me in the way I work, in the way I interact with people, not only in the office, but in my personal life too.
There are several things to learn and admire. One thing which comes to my mind on top of it is the ability to identify talent, strength in people. This has multiple advantages. One, the team working around him, working to their strength. Thereby they are relaxed, working charged in a very positive frame of mind. Two, a team which is built, which is complementing strength. Here, an organization is focusing on people's strength rather than on the weakness or what we can't do, what we won't do. This is one important characteristic which difficult to, as human, we're always looking for blaming someone, finding out what others can't do and what others can short of. RT is one big strength of positive energy. This is something I would love to learn, practice my lifetime.
As I was driving through empty road of Mumbai in one of these days, I recollected an old incident wherein we all had come to Chennai for a conference, and in just previous day, Bandh was called and our conference was postponed by a day. But he called in the early morning and told Umesh, I'll come and pick you, we'll discuss business. And we traveled through empty road to your office and discussed about business, and you also explained about the concept of business, concept of partnership. I still remember those words. The way you communicated to us, your simplicity, your accessibility, the illustration given by you still is very strong in my memory. I have tried to practice it. I'm not sure how good I am at it, but it still keeps helping me whenever I come across some challenging situation.
Bharti sir, I know him for more than 30 years and I have learned a lot from him, and personally for me, he is one of the role models in my life. If you look at the greatest qualities I have seen in Bharti sir is very simple person. He is also easily accessible over phone. Although he doesn't have mobile or anything, but still he is the most simple person I have seen. Another point which I have greatly always admired is fitness level. Both his physical fitness which he maintains, and also his alertness of mind, which I believe is exceptional. The high clarity of thinking on any subject we discuss with him, whether it is on business, whether it is on analyzing another human being, or social subjects, or any other subjects. Very highlighting point about Bharti sir is the vision on business. Just simple example I like to quote is how we transited from chit business transition to, he was suggesting some 20 years back how to move into retail loan company. And finally the SCUF is born, and the SCUF has done great numbers, which everyone is aware of it. And the skill of analyzing the data and numbers is something which amazes even me. In fact, maybe it may be coming it naturally for him. I think maybe it is because he is a statistician. He is an unbelievable skill of numbers and data. To conclude in a sentence, I will say he is a living example of a great human being, and he is an inspiration for a lot of people.
I come from a family of teachers from a very small town called Pudukkottai. But my dream and desire was always to become an entrepreneur. I do not know what made Mr. Tyagarajan to find the entrepreneurship ability in me or capabilities in me. Still, I am not able to find a proper reason on that, because when I met him, I was just 28. I haven't done big business. What I had is my dream, desire to achieve something big in life. He could spot not only me, quite a lot of people across. He has the unique ability to spot the entrepreneurial ability with someone. Mr. Tyagarajan is father figure to me, because I do not inherit any business community. All that today in business today, for me, I owe to Mr. Tyagarajan due to several aspects. The empowerment. I don't think anybody, if at all, we need to look at in the dictionary meaning of empowerment. I would put Mr. Tyagarajan as the meaning for the empowerment. The trust, if at all you need to look at the right meaning for the trust, Mr. Tyagarajan. The way he trusts the partner, he always calls me a partner. The moment he identifies the right entrepreneur as per his framework, thereafter the trust and faith he reposes. In fact, it puts you into much bigger responsibility. It's not going to be easy because of the trust and faith what he is posing on you. The second one is most critical one. We started in a very small scale, today grown to be one of the largest top 10 real estate developers in the country. When you create wealth, can you be humble? He always taught the right balance between the responsibility of being a wealth creator and being humble and being content. And despite whatever you are in the society, despite whatever the positions you are in the society, can you be the same person? That's very difficult for every successful entrepreneur, because a lot of people, success goes into their head, or fame goes into their head, or wealth goes into their head. In this process they spoil. But this is the biggest learning every entrepreneur, every businessman has to adopt from Mr. Tyagarajan, this rare quality. Wealth creation is a responsibility, but you are not supposed to be the owner of all that wealth. I owe everything to Mr. Tyagarajan, whatever we are today. This organization has been built, Shriram Properties has been built on only one fundamental character, is the values, principles, governance, compliance. The growth has been possible just because the faith and trust, the empowerment what Mr. Tyagarajan has given to me particularly.
Hi friends, we would like you to subscribe and also press the bell icon so that you will get the notifications from YouTube.